Hey guys! Thanks for not giving me too much flack last week about not posting a vlog. I am still recovering from like the zombie death plague of, it's horrible. I still don't even feel 100%, so hopefully I can make it through this whole vlog without having to sneeze or blow my nose. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about a new category in literature that's really starting to come around a lot more this year. I noticed it last year, and it's called New Adult. And I really like this category. If you haven't heard of it, or you have heard of it but you have questions, maybe this vlog will help. Just a quick little vlog and an introduction to New Adult. So since I've been writing a New Adult, I get a lot of questions of what is New Adult. Is it like YA? Is it an adult? Well, it can be a lot like YA because the characters usually range in New Adult from 18 to 25, though I have seen older characters. I mean, realistically, in real life for me, I didn't really know where I was going with my life until I was 27. So there are some cases where some of the main characters in New Adult novels are a little older. But generally, I usually see their age ranges between 18 to 25. 18 to 20 are a lot of the bigger ones. I know my main character in my sci-fi, my NA sci-fi, is 18 herself. So what is NA? NA is simply the transition between being a teenager into an adult. And we've all been there. If you're over the age of 25, you've been in that transition in your life. And so authors are really taking note and they're writing about it. Well, how is it different from YA? A lot of people say, and I hate this misconception, well, isn't New Adult just young adult with sex and cursing? No. Now, that's not to saying that there aren't New Adult books out there with sex and cursing in it combined. But that doesn't mean it's just some downright not raunchy YA, older YA novel. That's not the case. Most NA that I've read do have some mild sex scenes, or not at all. Like my NA sci-fi, there's actually no sex scenes at all. That doesn't mean there's not sexual tension. I do have good sexual tension, but I don't have any actual sex scenes. For the cursing, I think I use one curse word in the whole book, and it's like a made-up curse word because it's a sci-fi, so it's not even a real curse word. So it's just all on how you want to take the new category. A lot of people are just being vindictive and trying to slap a YA sex and cursing label on it, and that's not the case. So please, if that's what you think, hopefully this video will help you a little bit more. If not, I'll have some sites listed below that can also kind of guide you into the new realm of New Adult. So back to that transition from teen to adult. And basically, I mean, it says it's self-explanatory. And I'll just give you, for instance, with my character, she's 18. It's her first time away from home, far away from home, like light years away from home. And she doesn't have mom and dad there to help her out. She doesn't have her family. She doesn't have anybody she's used to, any of her friends, her best friends. She's kind of just plucked from one area, plopped down in another one, and said, here you go, it's time to figure it out, and it's time to grow up. And she really struggles with that, as most of us do and did in our real lives. I was like a mess from like 18 to 22. I was just like, it was horrible. So you have these great transitioning novels, and I see a lot of them where you have men and or women that are falling in love maybe for the first time for real. When you're a teenager, sometimes you think you're in love for the first time, and it doesn't turn out that way. You get hurt. You don't find your real true love until you're a lot older and you're in an adult relationship. So some of the themes that you'll see in some of New Adults are things like sexuality, because people are discovering more about their sexuality. They're also discovering more about their identity, who they are, how did they come to this place. They already know who they want to be, and now they just have to make that happen. Whereas in YA, you have an idea of who you want to be, you just have no clue how you're going to get there. And so maybe some characters in New Adult don't necessarily know who they are or what they want to be yet, and that's okay. Most of them know who they are, what they're made of, and where they want to go. It's all about how they get there and the relationships that they have in that process. And I don't just mean like sexual relationships. I mean friends, family, possible romantic relationships. I mean, you get it, guys. You get it. I've also read some new adult that have a lot of substance abuse or family struggles. I've read 2 recently that dealt with girls taking care of somebody that had Alzheimer's, which were like, oh, great. They were wonderfully written and at the same time gut-wrenching, because my grandfather had Alzheimer's, so I really could relate to those books. So yes, NA and YA do run very close together, but they do have some great things that separate them apart, where in YA you could be having family struggles, you could be having, you know, substance abuse struggles, but not necessarily to the extent as an adult. And especially when you're an adult, even a new adult, you can handle things differently. You can handle them better, you can handle them worse. However the characters handle them is completely up to the author. But you have an adult perspective on it versus a teenage perspective on it. Now I know a lot of the YAs that I've read, in any kind of troubled situation, the teenager usually rebelled or was helping a friend that was rebelling, which, you know, makes for great writing. Where with new adult, you're really past that phase of rebelling, because where do you have to go? You don't have anybody to give you that attention for rebelling anymore. Now you just have to sit down and figure out, how do I make this work? How do I get past this? How do I overcome this? And that's what I really, really, really love about NA, is you really get into the mind of a new adult. And I've been able to remember a lot more from my own personal experience as a new adult versus my teenage experience, because my teenage experience was completely different from when I turned 18 and was out on my own. And people can argue with me that all day long, but I think a lot of people feel the same way. You have one view when you're a teenager, and then you have another view when you're an adult. I'm not saying all teenagers are like this, but when I was a teenager, I knew everything. You couldn't tell me anything because I knew everything, and I was always right. Okay, when I got into the real world, I realized, yeah, I was wrong about a lot, and had to figure it out, because that's all you can do. You just have to figure it out. And so that's what I really love about New A. And again, the misconception that it's just older YA with sex and cursing slapped into it is wrong. There's not. That's not to say there aren't some books out there. But I mean, I've even read young adult that have sex and cursing in them. So that, I mean, it really doesn't have any ground to stand on to just call it older YA with sex and cursing. Because I've read some really odd YA with sex and cursing in the same book. So I'll also post some sites below. I wanted to mention 3 today. Goodreads, obviously, I mean, you can find anything about any kind of book anywhere in the world on Goodreads. So what I did is, instead of actually going to the Goodreads site itself, I Googled NA in front of Goodreads first. So NA on Goodreads, and it brought up groups, new adult groups. It brought up a NA shelf. And it was great. I found all these books and was like blown away with this new category. And that's when I really decided with my sci-fi, which great, was originally a young adult. I decided it really needed to be in NA, because she wasn't a teenager anymore. She was a new adult. And so it just fit. And it was really good to find all these books and these new authors to be able to read and kind of see and gauge how they were transitioning their main characters into this new world of adulthood. So Goodreads is great, and I'll go ahead and post that link below. Another one that I found, and I love these women, is NA Alley, their blog. I think it's like 7 of them, 7 or 8 women. I know they just had somebody leave because they're going on to further their writing career and just really didn't have time. But so it's 7 or 8 of them, but they're all really wonderful. Even the woman that is only going to be working on their site minimally, they have chats on Twitter, which I'll link below, every Thursday night, and it's just great. It's a group of people getting together, talking about what NA is. We get a lot of new people come into the chat. And it's really just an awesome experience to be around authors who are really striving to make new adult its own little place in the literary world. And I can't give these women enough credit. You guys are all great. You know who you are. And I'll post that link on the bottom below. Another site that I found is called NA Literature. And I really like that site as well. It has good information about NA. So all of those sites, and if you guys just Google new adult, I mean, so many different things can come up. I could go on and on all day about all the sites you could find. But NA, guys, it's simply just transitioning from teenager to an adult. And they're really great reads. And if you have any questions about NA, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. I'm still kind of new to the category myself. I've only been working on the sci-fi now as an NA for about 6 months. But I have been reading NA for about a year. I'll go ahead and post some NA books that I really, really liked and that really just kind of opened up the category for me in my mind. So you guys can take a look at those. Yeah, so any questions, guys, just let me know. And I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks so much. I'm so sorry I didn't vlog last weekend. It was just like, ugh, like, it was bad. It was, ooh, I think even my cat was afraid of me. And it takes like a lot to scare my cat. She's pretty tough. So it was bad. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.